Okay, in this video we'll be using RSLogix 5000 and showing the difference between a standard tag and a alias tag. We'll also show you the scope level tags and the program level tags. So I have a base program right here I called Alias Tag Program, and in that program I have made a UDT. The UDT is pretty simple. It's just 64 bools, which is a standard bit, and they're I labeled it state. So in program 1, or in the main program right here, we'll add another one, and we'll call it. We'll make sure it's ladder, and we'll call it alias tag, and then we'll come into the main routine and we will JSR that. We'll JSR it to the routine we made called alias tags. Now this is offline right now, so it's basically we'll download. This is going to be done off of a virtual chassis. So I've already had my emulator. I've already made my basically my controller and set it up. So all I have to do is download. So in the alias tag, first off, if you want to see like a program scope tag, so in the program scope tag, you go to edit. You can open the tag program scope tags and then edit and just add, say for instance, tag 1 and then you can have tag 2, make sure you change your data type. I failed to do that on the first one, so I just want to make that a bool. Being that we're in edit, we're not using these, they're not used anywhere, so we can just simply delete them. So we'll come back and add tag 1, change it to a bool, and that would be a standard program scope tag. So you can only use that in this program. So if I come in here and made a new program and said, say for instance I called it I don't know, new program, then I cannot use these tags in this program. So in other words, I can only use it in this main program and not this one. So in that particular point, I mean, I can only use that in this program. Now in alias scope tags, say for instance we want to make an alias scope tag, we can basically come in and go into controller scope, go edit, and say we wanted, say let's just say start button, or let's just say yeah, start button, start PB, and then right here we could say we named it state. So we could use that as start button as in state, but realistically what we want to do is not put a data type there. We want to come in here and put an alias. So we don't have any aliases yet. So at that point we want to come in here and let's rename this as states and change our data type to state, and that's that UDT that I made, and that will give me all the states that I have. So at that point we could come in here and we could put we can do state 1 and then alias it, come down here and put state 1, and that automatically knows it's a bool. So state 2, and keep doing the same thing. So we can keep doing this and have it represent the states that it's doing. Or say for instance, this is very helpful to actually have as it, like, say for instance you want to call it starting, and then you wanted to reference like one of the states or something at that point. If you wanted to reference starting as in like state 1, then you could represent starting as state 1, and then we'd obviously want to delete this. So we know that starting is state 1, and then let's call that command to start, and then we'll call this starting. So we'll come back and put state 2, and we'll delete this one. So the reason we have this is, like, say for instance you wanted a command to start, that's in state 1, starting is state 2, and then running would be state 3. So in that point we could actually come in here and write the logic behind this and say, okay, so at this point we wanted to use this. So say for instance we had the start button, so we added a start button, start PB, we made that a tag, and then we came in and said that's gonna issue the, let's look at our tag database again. So we're gonna actually have that a command to start. So we'll put command to start, and that represents state 1. So at that point we could come in here and say, so if state 1 is active, or even that, you don't have to incorporate that. You could just say if state 1 is active, so states, and come down here to state 1, say if it's active, then look back at our tag database, say starting. So we'll come back and throw this one as starting, and then we'll come back and add a rung, and have this as state 2. So if state 2 is active and not state 1, then we want to say that it's running. Alright, we want to do a, well, first off, we want to, well, let's go back and look at this. We want to do a command to start, and then we want to do a starting. So at that point, you do a command to start, you do a starting, and then after you do a start, you come down and you do running, and at that point you can indicate that it's running. So you say, okay, that's state 3, and in state 3 you could just come back and say system. So there's another way to, you make tags, system running and then come down here, base, alias, states, and then we want state 4 for this one. So at that point, we could download and see this happen. So we obviously don't want state 2 or state 1. So at each one of these, you could say if nothing was active, so to do start, you could say you could do a compare, but we won't do that. We'll just come down here and verify and download. And then we'll throw from program to run, and then at that point we'll trigger everything. And as soon as that happens, so you can see that the start makes that state so that it commands the alias to come on. The alias we're using down here comes on. It does the starting, which is the alias down here, which if we edited that, so at that point, we could cut the start off and make it real cut and dry, simple. So if the start come on, then everything came on. But that happened sequentially, so that happened within a sequential status. It just happened so quick that it looks like it all comes on at once. So real quick, I just wanted to show the separation of alias tags. So this is the tag, and you alias it to whatever you want to alias it to. You can use the alias here. Go back and do it. So the alias tags are over here, and the tags that are using the aliases are over here. So real quick, I just wanted to give a short, brief explanation of alias tags. And again, I hope that helped. And if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to leave me a comment. Thanks.